The brilliant midday sun of Tsavo, Kenya, bathed a lush green carpet of grass, fresh and vibrant after the early season rains. The scene was breathtakingly beautiful, a place where life was springing forth with its greatest vigor. In that peaceful space, Amanda's patrol vehicle rolled slowly, the tires gliding softly over grass as smooth as velvet. Amanda, a ranger with keen eyes and the calm demeanor of someone who had spent her youth learning the heartbeat of this land, was enjoying the rich beauty of the reserve. She was more than just a law enforcer. She was a protector of wild souls. However, that peace was abruptly shattered, not by a majestic roar, but by the lonely, sobbing plea for help from a lion cub. Amanda stopped the car, her intuition signaling that something was wrong. Ahead, near a mud pit left over from the rain, a small cub was running in circles, its tiny paws scrambling in utter panic. When Amanda raised her binoculars, her breath caught in her chest. Amidst that lush green land lay a cruel trap of nature. A thick, black pit of sludge was swallowing a great lioness. Only her head and thin neck remained above the mud, looking tragically out of place against the poetic landscape. Her amber eyes had lost their usual majesty, replaced by exhaustion and a haunting gaze fixed upon her young cub. She was no longer struggling for herself. She was using her last ounce of strength to keep breathing, simply to be with her child for a few moments longer. Amanda whispered softly into her lens, her voice trembling with emotion. This is not merely a rescue. This is a testament to an extraordinary maternal bond. A mother fighting death so as not to abandon her child in the green wild. Amanda stepped out of the vehicle, feeling the midday sun begin to burn her shoulders. Beneath her feet was a lush carpet of grass, but just a few steps away, the ground turned into a lethal liquid mass. She approached the edge of the mud pit with extreme caution. Through years of experience, Amanda understood that the mud in Tsavo was not just wet earth. It was a viscous fluid with a terrifying suction. Every time the lioness tried to tilt her nose up to breathe, the vacuum pressure from below pulled her heavy body deeper down. The sight before her was heartbreaking. The lion cub, the heart of the entire ordeal, was a tiny, exhausted creature. Its fur was matted with dried mud, and its eyes were filled with supplication. It ran to the very edge of the pit, stretching out a tiny paw as if to reach for its mother, only to retreat in fear as the mud gave way. The lioness responded with a low, guttural growl, not a threat, but an instinctive warning to her young. Don't come near, it's dangerous. Even with death at her throat, her protective instinct remained stronger than her personal fear. Amanda picked up her radio to call the support team for cables and wooden planks, but she knew time was not on her side. In the natural world, survival is often brutal, and humans are usually advised not to intervene. Yet, looking into those eyes, the eyes of a mother clinging to her last breath for her child, Amanda could not just stand by. She knew that passion alone wasn't enough. She needed a precise plan to defeat the grip of the earth. The hardest decision was the use of anesthesia. Amanda took out the tranquilizer gun, her hand gripping the stock firmly while her gaze remained resolute. This was a high-risk decision. If the drug was too strong, the lioness's head might drop, and she would suffocate in the mud before she could be pulled out. But without sedation, the panic of a 400-pound predator would make a rescue impossible, and she might accidentally injure those trying to save her. Trust me, Amanda prayed silently. She adjusted the scope, taking a deep breath to steady her racing heart. A soft pop rang out, and the sedative dart hit the lioness's exposed shoulder with precision. Amanda acted immediately, laying down large wooden planks with her team to create a path over the mire. While waiting for the drug to take effect,
just relax.
she constantly monitored the animal's breathing and tossed large clumps of grass under its chin to create a temporary pillow, ensuring its nose stayed above the mud as its muscles began to relax. As the lioness's amber eyes slowly closed, the air grew thick with suspense. Amanda looked toward the cub huddling behind an acacia tree. its eyes never leaving its mother. A silent promise was made, at all costs, that mother would wake up on dry ground. Now, the true physical battle against the 1,000-pound weight of the sludge began. Once the anesthesia had completely subdued the lioness's powerful muscles, an eerie silence fell over the area. Amanda didn't waste a single second. She began to crawl toward the center of the mud pit on narrow wooden planks, every movement calculated to maintain a fragile balance. Beneath her, the black mud bubbled, making hollow glug sounds as if it were angry at being robbed of prey. The pungent smell of sulfur and the heat rising from the earth made the air suffocating. Upon reaching the lioness, Amanda faced a harsh reality. The mud had seeped into every crevice of the fur, creating a bond so sticky that movement was impossible. She had to use her bare hands, reaching deep into the murky, thick sludge to find the right spots to thread the cables. The sensation of the cold mud sucking at her arms made her shiver, but her gaze remained steady. She skillfully looped heavy-duty nylon straps under the animal's chest and front legs. It was grueling work. Every time she tried to lift a part of the heavy body to slide a strap through, the mud fought back with equal suction. "Keep her head up," Amanda shouted to her teammates. Another ranger used a long hook pole to keep the lioness's nose pointed skyward, preventing her from inhaling mud while unconscious. Meanwhile, the cub had crept a little closer. It was no longer running erratically, but stood still like a silent judge, its large round eyes holding a strange understanding. It looked at Amanda, then at its mother, as if praying for a miracle. After nearly 30 minutes of struggling, the straps were finally secured. Amanda signaled the 4x4 vehicle on the grassy bank to begin pulling. The engine roared, and the cables stretched taut like harp strings, emitting dry, creaking groans. Initially, the lioness didn't budge. The suction of the mire was immense, as if it wanted to hold onto this king until the very end. Amanda stood right beside her, using a long shovel to clear channels around the animal's body to break the vacuum seal. Suddenly, a loud thwack rang out, the sound of freedom. The final layer of mud surrendered, releasing the lioness. Her massive body began to slide across the surface, slowly being towed toward the green grass. Amanda used all her strength to guide the animal, ensuring she didn't collide with nearby acacia trunks. When the lioness's forepaws finally touched solid ground, a collective sigh of relief erupted from the rescue team. Looking at the lioness lying motionless on the grass, her body covered in a coat of black mud like a ruined sculpture, Amanda felt her heart pounding. The creature looked small and fragile on the vast earth, a stark contrast to her usual majesty. Amanda immediately grabbed water buckets and a high-pressure hose from the rescue vehicle, beginning the task of washing away the cruel traces of the pit. Under the cool water, the lion's signature golden fur gradually reappeared, a symbol of returning life and dignity. However, the lioness had not yet woken up, and the true test of recovery was only beginning. After escaping the clutches of the mud, the lioness was laid on her side on a large tarp under the shade of an ancient acacia tree. The race against time had shifted. It was no longer about muscle, but patience and medicine. Amanda knelt beside the animal, her hands trembling slightly from exhaustion, but her actions were decisive. She began checking vital signs. The heart rate was still slow due to the anesthesia and exhaustion, but the breathing had become steadier, moving the massive chest in a rhythmic pulse. Amanda used damp cloths to wipe the remaining mud from the lioness's eyes and ears. She knew that if the mud dried, it could cause a serious infection. Next, she carefully inserted a 4-needle into a vein in the hind leg. Fluids filled with vitamins and electrolytes began to flow into her body, like lifeblood seeping in to wake up cells worn out from the struggle. Amanda explained to her teammates in a low, empathetic voice. She fought not to sink. Now we must help her find the strength to stand up. Throughout the process, the lion cub remained an inseparable presence. It was less fearful now and had moved closer, only a few meters from its mother. It crouched on the green grass, its small ears perked up, listening to every movement of the rangers. At one point, the cub took a small step forward, craning its neck to catch its mother's scent before looking directly into Amanda's eyes. There was no hostility in that gaze, only a pure plea. Amanda smiled, a rare smile after hours of tension. She kept a safe distance, but gave the little one a reassuring look, creating a strange spiritual connection between two different species. As time passed, the midday sun began to soften, giving way to gentle breezes carrying the scent of young grass. Amanda did not take her eyes off the lioness for a single second. She prepared a dose of the reversal agent to help her wake up faster once her vitals were stable. She understood that in the wild, a lion lying motionless for too long was an invitation to opportunistic predators like hyenas. As Amanda injected the waking agent, the air once again became so still she could hear her own heart beating. She signaled for everyone to retreat toward the patrol car, leaving a private space for the mother and child. From a distance, Amanda observed the lioness's toes begin to twitch, a sign that the nervous system was awakening. Her tail flicked slightly against the grass. "Come on, girl," Amanda whispered. Hope now was not just for the life of an individual, but a belief in the kindness that humans can offer nature. She knew that if this mother couldn't stand up, that cub would have no chance of surviving this harsh world. Then, after a long, deep breath, the lioness began to move her head. She hadn't opened her eyes yet, but maternal instinct led her to emit a soft puff, a familiar call to her young. That call echoed across the green savanna, an affirmation that death had been forced to retreat. The afternoon sun began to turn a deep amber, staining the lush green plains of Tsavo. In the silence of twilight, the lioness slowly opened her eyes. Initially, her gaze was dazed, as if she couldn't believe she had escaped the darkness of the deep mud pit. She tried to lift her heavy head, her ears swiveling to locate the sounds around her. Amanda stood at a distance, holding her breath while watching through binoculars. She knew this was the most critical moment, the second the soul of the monarch returned to its body. After a few unsuccessful attempts, the lioness pushed her front legs into the solid earth. A low, guttural roar rumbled from her chest, not a hunting roar, but a call filled with longing. Immediately, from the nearby brush, the cub lunged out like an arrow. No longer timid or afraid, the little one ran straight to its mother, nuzzling its head in her neck and chest. The lioness licked her cub with rough strokes that carried boundless love. She licked away the remaining dry mud from the cub's fur, as if to wash away the terror of the afternoon. Amanda felt a warm surge of electricity run down her spine as she witnessed the scene. In that moment, all barriers between human and beast seemed to vanish. Only one truth remained. The bond between mother and child is the universal language of every living being on this earth. The lioness rose unsteadily to all fours, shaking herself to shed the last dust of her battle with death. Before walking away, she paused for a beat, her amber eyes looking toward Amanda's vehicle. It wasn't the look of an enemy, but a silent, majestic acknowledgement, a magical moment of connection between the savior and the saved. Then, the two of them wandered off, their silhouettes stretched long across the green grass, gradually fading into the shadows of the acacia groves as night fell. Amanda leaned back against her car seat, taking a deep breath of the fresh wilderness air. She thought about her 10 years as a ranger, the scars on her hands, and the scars in her heart from witnessing the harshness of nature. But today, she had found the answer to all her sacrifices. Sometimes, Amanda whispered into the silence of the cabin, the solution doesn't lie in grand gestures, but in our choice not to turn away. This rescue wasn't just about pulling an animal out of the mud. It was about restoring the faith that humans can be a harmonious and compassionate part of this world. She knew that tomorrow, the lioness would face hunts and other dangers of the wild again, but at least tonight, the mother and child would sleep peacefully together under the African stars. Amanda started the engine, slowly leaving the scene as the first stars began to twinkle above. She smiled, a strange sense of peace spreading through her mind. She would tell the story of the lioness and her cub, not to boast of a feat, but to remind anyone listening that even when the world seems to pull us down into the mire of despair, somewhere there's always a hand or a heart ready to reach out and pull us back toward the light. Life is fragile, but compassion makes it immortal.